Alright guys, so today's exercise I'm doing lesson 5-13. This one's actually not too bad, thankfully. It's just got a couple formulas and kind of logic you got to use to figure it out. There's the first one that we're going to be looking for, or formula rather, is on how to find our net purchases. Basically, net purchases, you just take your purchases and you subtract your returns and allowances. So what you actually sold and then what got returned is going to give you your net purchases. The next one, in order to find costs of good purchased, you take your net purchases, which we just figured out, and you add your freight in. You add these two together and it'll give you your costs of goods. Alright. Then the next one we're going to do is costs of goods sold. In order to find costs of goods sold, you take costs of goods available for sale and you subtract the ending inventory. So right here, you subtract these two and it will tell you what you actually sold. Alright, and then going up for here, finding purchases, return allowances, you just kind of have to work it backwards. You know your net purchases and you know your purchases, and so you subtract those and then it'll tell you how many were returned. Same thing for freight in. You know your net purchases again, and you know the costs of goods purchased. And so if you take those and subtract your cost of goods purchased by net purchases, it'll give you how much you freighted in. Same thing with ending inventory. You know your cost of goods available for sale and you know your costs of goods sold. So you subtract those and it will tell you what your ending inventory was. Basically do the same thing on this column as well. You just got to work through it. This one's a little bit more tricky, the S company, just because the way I work them is I start obviously at the top and work my way down. This one, you can't figure out the beginning inventory until you figured out some of these other ones. The reason for that is you need these ones to figure out what your beginning inventory was. But other than that, it's pretty simple. You just have to use basic algebra, getting things moved over to the other side of the equation, and it works out. But yep, that's all we need. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.